Hey everyone, this is Walter from iWalter. It is the 22nd of September, and it's a very depressing weekend for me once again. Real quick though, I'm just going to fill you in right now. I'm shooting this as a video cam podcast once again, but I can't put the whole segment up if it's actually long. Now the thing about the webcam is I can use this photo booth program, which give people a heads up, and it works actually very nicely because everything seems to work together. I'm actually using a rather expensive Mac Pro, not a MacBook, but a Mac Pro. The one looks like a trash can. And I bought this thing for video editing and mainly, and then it was going to be for other stuff, stuff that I actually enjoy doing, which are these podcasts as well. So that never happened, and I don't use it for anything except internet stuff. So it's an overpriced machine. I think it's like if you would bought it when it first came out, I got it refurbished. I think it was like $3,000. For the cheapest model, it's like $10,000 for the highest model. Anyway, I'm digressing. Well, this weekend actually was supposed to be, by this time I would have my job reinstated, I was hoping, and I would be able to do stuff that I could not do before or haven't been able to do for a while. Well, now it's going on, I believe, it's not at that point, but it's going on 7 months. And I've been looking for work. It's amazing because, they say, and I believe this, the unemployment rate is down, but I'm having a real difficult time finding a job. And I'm running very close to running out of unemployment. So I've been I had an interview yesterday at, I'm just going to keep it at A&F because I always pronounce the name wrong. I think it's Abercrombie and Finch, something like that. And it was like, well, this would be a shoo-in. I should be able to get this job. And I asked him, are you hiring just for stock work? And one of the managers, very lovely young lady, said, yeah, we are. And then when I went to the interview, it was a 3-person interview, and it was a nightmare. The people were very nice and very friendly, much younger than me. One was fresh out of college, and young lady that actually worked at Abercrombie when she was younger and wanted to come back. She's actually in the mental health field, I believe it sounded like. And she was just looking for something, I guess, for a little extra money, because you do get a nice discount on clothes when you work at those places. Because I worked at Banana Republic, you get a really hefty discount. And you need clothes for your job. A lot of people will, try to grab those jobs for that reason. So, anyway, I think I miserably failed at that interview. It was so bad that I was just like, I needed to dig a hole to climb into. I was just so embarrassed. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. And I've been applying for every single job under the sun, no matter what it was. And I'm not even worried about money, unfortunately, anymore, because, it's a shame because last year, I shouldn't say this or disclose how much I made, but I made over $100,000. The year before that, I made close to or a little over $70,000. And this year, right before I got let go, and I'm trying to get this situation straightened out, I had made $40,000, and that was 7 months ago, or 6 months and going. I had $40,000 for the year, had already established that much. So, yeah, you go from that to zero income. It's just really hard. I have bills that are going to be, right now I've been keeping my head above water, but how long is that going to last? So it's really depressing. I'll tell you that much. One thing I was going to get started earlier. It's actually only 8 o'clock. I've been getting up a little bit early. I go through these spurts. I either get up really early and go to bed at a decent time, or I go to bed early in the morning and sleep until 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and even 6 or 7. So it's a sporadic. I think it's just part of a depression because, you try to apply for these jobs. Hey, there's work everywhere. And at this point, I will settle for a job that pays $9 an hour from making 30 some dollars an hour. And it's a big cut, but I'm just that desperate for work, and it's not coming my way. Anyway, I was looking for something, and it had taken me, I tried to look for at least a good hour or so for something I heard on Ken Matthews' show. And by the way, I didn't know this, but Ken Matthews, I was listening to him on iHeartRadio. Now I hear he's actually, or I saw when I was looking for something I heard on the show, which I wanted to play the segment live tonight, but that's not going to happen, unfortunately. The thing was, it was like I found out, hey, he's on 1210. That's like the talk radio for Philadelphia, 1210, because I've been listening to him show directly from where he lives, which is in Harrisburg. So, and I'm paying for this now. I've been paying. It's not much. It's a small fee for iHeartRadio. And I kind of like iHeart because it has Glenn Beck in the morning, and then in the afternoon it's Rush Limbaugh, and then after that is Ken Matthews until 6. And right afterwards, if I'm still listening to any radio at all, because I kind of just divide up when I'm listening to the radio, which is actually internet radio at this point for me, it will be Sean Hannity. So it's really cool. But, if I can get this stuff in Philly and they have the same program guide, I would go for that instead. So anyway, what I was looking for, I heard Ken Matthews distinctly. Hey, by the way, you can see right here before I get to my 10-minute mark, and you won't be able to see anymore. This is my cup of soda or whatever I drink that night. When I'm always saying, oh, I'm taking a swallow. Like Matt, my friend Matt, he laughs at this. Like, oh, I'm taking a swallow. Well, you can't see what I'm doing. Right now you will for the next couple minutes, and then I'll see how much I can put up online. So, folks, this time you actually got to sit. See me drink some soda. It's not a really good thing with all this electronic stuff, and especially at the price I pay for everything. Did I say the other day I got my I think I did. I got my replacement iPhone, so I'm kind of happy with it. Yeah, it would have been nice to get the newer one, but you know what? I have no income. I started to talk about I was going to go to a horror convention this weekend because I wanted to see this guy, Ted Raimi. He played in a lot of Sam Raimi's horror movies. His brother, obviously, is Sam Raimi. And I can't afford it, so I'm not going. And it was this weekend. I thought by this point this would have been once and done deal. I would, had my job back, and I would have been making some back pay and whole 9 yards. I'm not getting anything out of it. So far. And this might go on for over a year. It's already been going on for close to 7 months. By the time I actually meet for what's called an arbitration, it will be coming up on actually 10 months. And I don't think that's going to be the end of it. I think it's going to be prolonged as long as they can keep this going. The company I worked for, and I think they're doing it because they just want me out of there desperately, and not for a very good reason, but just for a very weak reason. Not a very valid reason, I should say. Anyway, digressing again, but I'm trying to get a few things in, and this will be in the chunk I'll put up online. So anyway, I was spending time. I wanted to see that. The weekend before, though, folks, there was this convention. I wanted to see this woman. She's a really funny comedian from I was going to say California. No, she's from England. And her name's Catherine Tate. I love the woman. She's really funny. She was on one season of Doctor Who. That's how I first found out about her. And then I watched her own material called The Catherine Tate Show. And even a friend of mine who really doesn't watch much British comedy or even Doctor Who stumbled upon one of Catherine Tate's skits, and he thought it was funny too. So she was down Philadelphia the last weekend. It would have been perfect because I could have taken the train down for $6, got off, and been right at the convention center. All I would have to pay for is the convention ticket and then the ticket to meet her. And it would have been, the problem was, even this convention was kind of expensive. The one this weekend is definitely expensive. The one last weekend was kind of expensive, but it was still like probably for everything I wanted to do would have been over $100, probably $150. It's money I don't have right now. So it's just really depressing. And, all I do is I get up, I clean. I live with my parents, so I clean their house every single day. I'm like a live-in maid. I'm like the indentured servant right now at the house. I can't afford to really go far, and when I do go out, it's like looking for jobs after I filled out the information online for jobs. I actually even applied for Apple, which a friend and I both said, we agreed like that would be a perfect job for me as Apple because, you know, I know so much. I've been using Apple products for the last, I would say, it's definitely been over 10 years. It has to be definitely over 10 years. I'm sorry, my screensaver keeps on popping up. So, yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, going back to Ken Matthews, I was listening to him. I listened to him in the background. I listened to Ken Matthews, I listened to Rush Limbaugh, and other guys. I'm not going to go through that whole list over and over again. And Ken Matthews, you know, I'm pretty sure not pretty sure. I did hear him say it, but I just don't remember which day of the show I was listening to. But he had mentioned, well, the percentage of illegals coming over the border. And he says every day there is, he kind of messed up, I think, a little bit. He was apparently not really specific. One point he said, oh, it's 10,000 illegal immigrants every day coming into the United States. Then he said it was 7,000 illegal immigrants coming in every day. It's like, yeah, I'd really like to hear that. I would have played it on the show. I went through the whole week's worth of segments. I actually went through 30-second intervals, on every show. Because in our show, after commercials are taken out, on any talk show is 30 minutes. Maybe 40 if you're lucky. It really depends on how popular you are as a talk show host. If you're pretty damn popular, like Rush Limbaugh, 30 minutes of an hour show is commercials because that's how many advertisers you're getting, which is a good thing for them. So anyway, I was trying to look for something on that, and I could not find anything specific. Now, when I have, you're seeing my hand wave back and forth. Whoa, yo, I'm moving my hands. Now, this is not going to go up online, unfortunately. But I have like a couple stories. I'm going to read through those, and it's going to be the end of the night. So if it's 15 minutes, that's good. If I have more to say and I can get an hour, I'm going to try to keep my shows, by the way, within an hour span. I find that to be the best thing for everyone. I was supposed to bring a guest host on of Ryan Logston. We were supposed to do a podcast last night, and he didn't call back. I didn't bother to pest him. I found that would be more convenient. I actually did call him during the beginning of the week and mentioned, hey, if you want to do this show, we're going to do it for no more than an hour. Let me know what you want me to talk about that you won't find offensive or even things I should not talk about on a podcast. He never responded back, so I just kind of let it go. And I was very tired. I had a meeting at this place called the Office of Rehabilitation yesterday, OVR for short, down in Norristown on, I can't remember the name of that street. I usually do remember it. Hope Street. Sorry about that loud Hope put out. But yeah, it's called Hope Street. Not New Hope. Not like the movie of Star Wars. So it's Hope Street. I do got a couple other things I can talk about. Let me just finish with this illegal immigration. So somebody put up something and people are saying, "Oh, it's ridiculous. It's not true, and it shouldn't be any of this." But it's about the amount of money that an illegal immigrant, refugee, whatever you want to call it, gets a month in government funding. Now, it's a paper in black and white, and people are writing, "Oh, this is inaccurate. This is fake news." It's like, well, this paper looks pretty legit to me, and it says a total of almost $4,000 a month. And honestly, I would not find that to be shocking. I would probably believe it myself. It states on the top. It was something I found on Facebook. A lot of people are angry, but some people are saying it's fake. I'll tell you, probably the people saying it's fake news are people from the left. Because they're finding everything else legitimate that is fake news. But when you show them real news, then it's fake news. So you can't win with them. Anyway, it's written on the top of this article or this picture. It's actual paperwork too, by the way, that they had snapshot picture of. And it says, this is what one illegal refugee gets with the federal assistance program. And it says, I'll give you the precise amount, $3,874 a month. Now, I don't even get 1/4 of that on my unemployment. I made probably not even close to that when I was working full time at my job that I'm trying to get back. So to me, fake or not, it's just plain ridiculous. And I kind of don't think it is fake. So if it's ridiculous, if it's fake, why are you upset? Because I don't think it's fake. That's my problem. I think it's everybody's problem, actually. It's not just, my problem. It's everybody's problem. How do you deal with it? Well, you try to change this, and you get rid of these illegal immigrants. You don't allow them to come in our country, and you won't have this issue. So trying to just say, well, there's nothing you can do about it is not the way around it. You have to do something. You have to stand up. You have to make a voice, actually. If you don't express how this is bothering you, it will never get changed. It won't be a problem. So anyway, I'm trying to I thought I had it lined up, but apparently I don't. Oh, wait a minute. I did a screenshot. I forgot about that. Actually, you know what? Before I even read that, there was one. I can't, and unfortunately, I don't want to use this source of news, but I have no choice. And this was from April of this year. And unfortunately, it's why I'm saying this. It's CNBC News, because you can't really trust anybody unless it's like Fox or Drudge Report. But I couldn't find anything anywhere else on referencing what Ken Matthews had mentioned. So I'm just going to use this article, and I'm sure this one might be kind of accurate. I think sometimes these media people actually do legitimately give information that could be true. So anyway, it says illegal crossing attempts at the U.S. southwest border tripled in March from a year ago. And this was March of this year. The number of illegal crossing attempts at the U.S. southwest border tripled in March compared with years ago, or a year ago. I apologize about this. The government says. So, yeah, there's been an increase, not a decrease, but an increase of illegal immigrants. And the problem that I have with this, they take our jobs. And, it used to be, well, they're not taking the jobs that pay well. Now they are taking the jobs that pay well. Now they are living in luxury. They're buying very expensive cars. They're living high on the hog. They're getting money from the government. They're getting cell phones probably from the government. They're getting government assistance from the government. They're able to drive illegally because not illegally. They're just able to drive. There's an article somewhere in here. I hope I have it posted where it says in New York. Excuse me. Sounds like I was. It says that in New York they allow people that are illegal immigrants to get licenses or be able to drive. So, you're just enabling this bad behavior practically. How else would you put it? So, okay, so here's one. This is the one I did the screenshot on. And a friend told me about it. He says, I hope this doesn't go through. I believe he meant some governor of New York or somewhere where, I think he said New York, where the guy's going to pass a law that is going to allow illegals to basically not even drive with a license. You get pulled over, you get reprimanded for stupid crap, being a U.S. citizen, and now you just basically bend over backwards, pretty much pull down your pants for these illegal immigrants and let them walk all over you. So I found some article, not the one, I couldn't find what my friend was talking about, my friend Todd Thomas. So I found something as close as possible, and it says undocumented immigrants could get driver's license in New York. And this was of April also of this year. Well, the other one was March. And it says that they can get driver license access and privacy with the private. Wait, let me read this. Protested. Well, okay, this was being protested. But, yeah, bottom line is Let me just forget everything I just kind of said, at least parts of it. But in New York, yeah, you can be an illegal immigrant and freely get a license. And I've seen this in Pennsylvania, because somewhere in these list of things I wanted to read through tonight, there was one where it named the states of, like, from last year, I think, or maybe a little bit further back, but I think it was last year, and which states allow illegal immigrants to get driver's license or be able to drive. I mean, it's hard enough for people in the U.S. to be able to drive, but it's okay for an illegal immigrant to get a driver's license or be able to drive a motor vehicle. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I thought I had it up. I don't. So I apologize. It was in the mix. And somehow I must have just apparently just shut down that link and didn't even realize it. And I'm afraid, because every time I go through and try to find something, I'll just shut everything else down. I don't want to do that. I'll do a quick look. But yeah, there was a list of states, like it was like California and things like that, where it was a list. I wish I could find that, honestly. Yeah, because I have illegal immigrant statistic fact check, crossing attempts over the border. So I don't know what I did with that article. Yeah, it would be nice. You know what I'll do probably? Maybe I'll just read through what I have up. And I'll just read the titles. I've done this before. It makes it pretty simple. A little less painful for people to hear my voice for a long period of time. And I think an hour will go very quickly anyhow. Anyway, from Fox News, I found this article, and it did get posted tonight. It was 2 sleeping Indiana teens shot dead by their father who killed himself. I mean, you hear about these morbid stories all the time, unfortunately. Yeah, it says Indiana teen, 13 years old, a 13-year-old sister sleeping when they were shot dead by their father who killed himself. That's horrible, though. These poor kids, cute kids, a boy and a girl, got killed shot by their father. So I don't know what's going on. It's like a lot of negative stories anymore. And I hate to tell you, the mix of stories I had pulled tonight and that I looked up, not intentionally, I just found them, was like, okay, this sounds pretty interesting. Or not very pretty stories. They're very kind of negative. Because there's one from Miami, and it says another Indiana, I guess. Because wasn't the other one I said Indiana? I can't remember already. Indiana man sentenced to 160 years in prison for impregnating a 10-year-old girl. Isn't that great? I'm being sarcastic, I hope you know. Nicholas Dion, it almost looks like trash, but I think it's thrash. 34 was sentenced to 160 years in prison Thursday, according to Fox 59, which they stated that his sentence calls for a minimum of 132 years behind bars. I don't think he'll see the light of day if that's true. And most of these people, I hate to say, if the prisons are overpopulated or given other circumstances, which I won't mention, they generally get out with a less time being served in jail, and they probably get out on parole of some sort. I don't know. Anyway, it says according to these reports, victim gave birth to a baby boy in September of 2017 at the age of 11, but got impregnated by a 34-year-old man back when she was 10. So the girl's mother also, and it seemed like it must have been one of these girlfriend-boyfriend situations where the woman had a daughter and the boyfriend was molesting this little kid who happened to be 10 years old. That's what I'm gathering, because it says the girl's mother also faces charges of neglect, aiding in child molestation, and assisting a criminal, according to the Chronicle Tribune. I guess that's a local paper. She is currently behind bars on a theft charge. Her trial on the charges in molestation case is scheduled for early October. So, but you know what? These people seem to get more rights and have more opportunity than I do. Why, I don't know. That's the thing I don't understand. Here's another one from Miami News, Channel 7 News. And this one was kind of funny. Believe it or not, it really is. It says mother was charged with theft for taking her daughter's cell phone away as punishment. So, you know, you try to do the right thing. You try to discipline your kids, and your kids get you thrown in jail. Actually, this says, it looks like Huntsville, looks like Michigan. Charges have been dismissed, actually, against a Michigan mother who faced possible jail time for taking away her teenage daughter's cell phone as punishment for getting in trouble at school. Now, this woman's daughter, I don't know how old the mother is 15 years old. And somehow she got thrown in jail for taking her, like it was something really serious. So I don't understand how, you know, little frivolous things you do get you jail time. Well, except for the guy who impregnated a 10-year-old. That's serious. But I'm saying it's like our justice system, I hate to say it, is all over the place. Like it's not consistent. And that alone just really kind of aggravates me. Oh, here is an interesting story I found. It says, and how much time have I been on the air for? Because it's 26 minutes. That's a good amount of time. Texas Muslim couple indicted for keeping an African girl as a slave for 16 years. I mean, you look at these stories, though, and folks, this happened in our country, I believe. Yeah, it did. A wealthy Texas Muslim couple. The one guy's name is Mohammed, and the woman's name is Denise, because I can't pronounce these last names, of South Lake near Fort Worth, were indicted on Wednesday for keeping a young African girl as a slave for 16 years. That is horrible, folks. That is horrible. And why do they get away with this stuff? I don't know. And again, hey, just remember, these Muslims are such peaceful people. I'm sorry, peace-loving people. And I read these articles. I'm only glancing at that. That's good enough. You kind of get the gist, I hope. Alrighty, this is the next thing came up. This is something totally different. It's nothing bad. Probably a good time to put it in. There's this playhouse called People's Light. And they're doing some interesting... I'm looking at it now. That's why I'm bringing it up, by the way. They're going to do some like kind of Dracula postmodern play. And I actually wouldn't mind seeing it because their plays are actually not that expensive. They're actually fairly cheap. And it's not too far from my house. I don't see the exact location at this point. And it doesn't give the exact location at this point. But yeah, they're doing some type of interesting postmodern, is the best way I can put it. Niche kind of play on, you know, a Dracula theme thing, which is perfect for Halloween. I think the tickets are only like $20 or $30. It says Pennsylvania, but I put it in because it's like, oh, do you want to know where it is? Actually, I think I do because it says Bristow Restaurant. I've heard of that. Chester County. I think Matt and I and Ed Rick went past there one time. Or ate at this Bristow. Yeah, we did actually. So it can't be that far. I think that would be like Westchester, I guess. I'm not seeing it right now. I don't want to waste any airspace. I'm going to keep my podcast within that hour range. It says, actually, I apologize. It says Malvern. Now, I know there's a Bristow diner that was around Westchester, but this is saying Malvern. Either way, it's not that far from the house. That's all I really was concerned about. I was actually considering it. If I can scrape that kind of money together, I think I could. I might actually go see this display. Now, here is an interesting one. I think my friend, the story I'm looking at next, I don't do a very good job of transitioning from one story to the next. But for my next story, it was from Fox News. I think my friend Todd sent it to me. And it says, Michigan woman who lied about being raped on college campus sentenced to jail. And you know what? I read it, and I have to applaud the women who commented back. It was posted on my Facebook page from my friend Todd, but it came actually from Fox News's webpage. But to get to the point on that one, I'm just looking real quick. Okay, about 30 minutes. A lot of women commented on this, and they were just like, well, good. Women are getting fed up because it makes women look bad when you have these, I can't even think of the correct word, these snowflake, what is that other word they use for the younger generation, millennials, who are just so upset on the election that happened the last year when Trump got elected. They're so a mess about that. They're so troubled that they're trying every tactic to, just say that they are so victimized and even making up stories left and right. Which someday I said to my friend, I never heard back. I told a couple friends, I said, you know what? If I ever became popular or if I would become somehow miraculously became rich, wealthy, I would find women from 30-some years ago, also 37 years ago, who would probably come out of the woodwork and say, well, Walter raped me. He intoxicated me. He raped me. Well, I hate to say this. I've never touched alcohol ever in my life. I have no interest in drinking alcohol. I don't like the taste or the smell of beer. And yet I would be the type of person that women would come out of the woodwork saying that I had sexually assaulted him. And that only will happen, which always is the case, is if you become, well-known somehow or financially really wealthy, then these people come out of the woodwork. And generally, they are big, fat liars. So I'm just saying. Anyway, yeah, my friend had sent this to me, and it was, I'm trying to look for the date. Wow, it says June 19th. Anyway, it says a Michigan woman who lied about being raped on her college campus was sentenced to jail time on Monday. Now, I'm sure the jail time is probably something that is laughable, but still, at least maybe it'll make an impression on a snowflake. It says Mary Lewaski, 21, was sentenced to 45 days in jail after pleading guilty to fabricating a story about being sexually assaulted in a parking lot at Delta College in Bay County. So, that's a joke. 45 days in jail, I mean, it's something, but I think it should be longer, but what do I know? Yeah, because if it was a guy, it would be like life imprisonment. Even if it was like something as simple as if somehow the shoe was on the other foot. If it was a guy complaining about that, oh, some woman raped me, and then they find out the guy was freaking lying, they would put him in jail for the rest of his life. I'm just saying. I can't prove that. I'm just saying. Okay, the next segment I have, again, something totally different. It does not concur with the story I just mentioned because it came up on my list of stuff. I don't put anything in order, trust me. If you're familiar with this woman, actress named Donna Douglas, you probably don't know the name. I wouldn't know it if I heard it. Had passed away this past week at the age of 82. Probably actually a few weeks ago. So this article is a little bit old, but because what did I say? It's like the 21st now. So it's been a few weeks. And this is news to me. This is the first time I actually heard of this. But Donna Douglas, she was really hot when she was younger. She was 82 when she passed away. Played Ellie Mae Clampett. So, yes, she was very hot back in the day when she played on the Beverly Hillbillies. Trust me, because I think there was a couple still shots I probably had taken of that show with her. And, yeah, it's just a shame. I mean, yeah, it happens to everybody. I know. I understand that, Matt. that everybody's going to die someday, but it's just you don't want to think about it. Some people do. I think some people just thrive on, well, I know I'm going to die someday. I'm going to be dying. I'm one day closer to have my foot in the ground. Well, great. Keep those thoughts to yourself. Don't include me. In fact, definitely exclude me. I don't want to know about that. Okay, now this one is another, well, it's not a lighthearted story, but for me, it's really awesome. And it has nothing to do on this story that I'm going to read to you right now, or at least mention it. It's from a web link called Dark Horizons. And Netflix, it says Netflix and Hellboy Scribe plans to make a Diablo series. What the hell is that, Walter? What are you talking about? What's Diablo series? Diablo is like a wannabe role-playing game from way back when on computers. It is one of those RPG, I guess they call it, games, not real RPG, role-playing game, that was awesome because it was really simple. You would spend hours. I never finished any of the Diablo games. There was Diablo 1, Diablo 2, Diablo 3. There was a bunch of expansion packs. And Blizzard, the company Blizzard, made these games because they make another series of games, which is very popular. I just can't remember the name of them. And I heard that was the other set of games that Blizzard had made were very much so kind of role-playing games. But Diablo, I was always very addicted to. I always get towards the end of the game, and it was like I give up. I can't stick with it. I don't know what else to say. I'm just pretty bad at those. Well, I got a really dark screen, but who cares? Because nobody can really see me at this point either. But yeah, Diablo, they made that into some type of online TV series. I probably would watch it. I don't know how good it would be, but I just know that's one of those few things I do like the game. Like, for instance, when I saw the movie Doom, it was pretty bad, but there were some segments of it just remind me of the video game, and not like Die Hard, like not as much as I would like it to. But there was one segment in the movie Doom, it had The Rock in there, that was really cool because they actually made it look like what's called a first-person shooter. I was like, dude, this is awesome. And I'm not a big video game player. Like, back when I was younger, in my 20s, there was that spell, me and my one friend, Trevor Pascavage, he got me into a couple games, and one of the games is from id Software, and it was called Quake. The game scared me so badly that I would stay up. And the graphics by today's standards look like total dog crap. But back then, the game would really scare me. I mean, I would be up all night because I had to finish a level because I was too afraid to leave the game because I thought, like, you know, with my OCD that something like a monster would come out of somewhere. Like, that's how petrified I was. I mean, the game really did scare me. So, anyway. Oh, God, I'm going back to these bad stories again. I'm sorry, but I can't help it. That's what I have up. A lot of school teacher stories, by the way, and they're all really bad. Teacher, and they're all females, just to let you know. Teacher accused of sending nude pictures to several teen boys, and they're all like 14 years old. And the woman in question is 35. So this is story number 1 on that, and it's from the New York Post. It was from September 20th. A friend, Todd, sent to me. He actually sent me, I wish I was joking about this, but he actually really did send me like several stories, all happening at the same exact time with school teachers, and they were all entwined, or whatever you want to say, with 14-year-old boys. So what is this deal? With grown women, most of them, if not all of them, are married, have children of their own, and they're having sex with 14-year-old boys. I don't know what the whole fascination is, but it's just disgusting, and they don't really do anything about it. It's like one of these things, well, what can we do about it? Well, you can do something about it. You can put these women in jail and stop slapping them on the wrist. So, yeah, now, okay, I thought this was going to be another. This is the story that just happened the other day. And this is, my source is It's from actually the Daily Mail. Now it's dated the 22nd, which is today, so I don't know how that's possible. But the story was posted on the 21st, which was yesterday. And it's that story about the woman working at a Rite Aid distribution center. Rite Aid's like a drugstore, but it's, I guess, where they actually do some manufacturing for certain products for the Rite Aid stores. And this particular woman shot 3 people, and then she ended up turning the gun on herself and killing herself. Well, the thing interesting about that story, by the way, is they didn't say that at first. They did say it was a woman. She was a transgender. So the woman was in transition, I guess. Black woman. She was in transition to become a man, and couldn't afford it, I guess. I don't know. But she felt like she was being, kind of, I don't want to say pushed aside, but she was being kind of, I don't know how else to put it, like ignored. Like nobody, didn't give her enough attention. She had this issue of wanting to become a man. And for some reason, and she was a temp. That's the other thing. She was a temporary person, I believe, at this job. I'm not really reading the story. This is what I've heard on the news. And she ended up shooting 3 people and turning the gun on herself. So something triggered her off. And you know what? The reason I want to mention this, and the thing that just made it more interesting, is the fact that she's a transgender, or in the process of becoming a transgender, considered it. This is the issue. Usually, I do hear this a lot, that people, men or women, who get or believe that they are born the wrong sex and they get this procedure done or start to, generally have underlying issues. And I do believe the media creates a lot of problems, believing that people are born the wrong sex, or that they're being discriminated upon, blah, blah, blah. But this was definitely one that actually proved this to be true, that, this is a woman who had problems. She felt like she was born the wrong sex, and she had obviously some emotional and mental issues. And, what does she think? Oh, I'm born the wrong sex. And she is at this temporary job, and she kills innocent people. So, yeah, that's, it kind of is kind of obvious that, yeah, people who get this surgery done, I don't want to say reconstructive, but what do you call that? Reassignment of their sex organs and things like that. Maybe there's I'm not going to say it either way, but maybe there is some truth behind this. Or I'm sure there is a lot of truth behind this. That they're not really dealing with the problem. They're kind of they're just masking the issue. And it's funny because I'll see certain people, and you know what? The thing that gets me mad about this, it depends which state you live in. But there's a guy, I'm not going to say who it is, who looks like a woman physically, very young and very attractive because it looks like a very hot woman. And I don't know what it is about guys. When they get reconstructive surgery from being a man to a woman, most of them get these humongous breast implants, like so huge. I mean, they're bigger almost in their whole body. I'm exaggerating there. But there's one in particular who's on Instagram, and I forget what other social media. It was like, when I first looked at it, I was like, wow, that's a really hot-looking woman, until they talk, and you can tell it's a man. So, and they're convinced that they are definitely women. They were born in the wrong sex, born the wrong sex. They were really meant to be the other sex. And you hear these people, and it's like wearing a costume, but these are like flesh costumes, which is even more morbid. And, you got these guys who get they invert their penis and make it into a vagina. They get these humongous breast implants. They get ribs removed so they look more like a woman. They get their Adam's apple shaved down. I mean, it's amazing what they get done, and they may look like women, but realistically, they're still men. And there's one in particular who I did see, very tall woman. She's an actress who is a transgender, and at first I really thought that this individual was a woman. And I saw her at a convention one time. I got a meet and greet picture with her, and she was really nice. It was one of those I didn't actually pay for a meet and greet. I just went up and it was at a horror convention. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm not going to even mention what show she's on because that's not fair to her. Not that anybody listens to me. So, she's on some show I'm watching this season of, some particular show. She was back. And you know what? The problem is, the hormone shots and the reconstructive surgery can do only so much. But as you get older and you get as a man or a woman, and you have take on the appearance of the opposite sex physically by getting surgery done, and you take those hormone shots, I think it gets to a point that you can't screw with Mother Nature, and it's pointless. So, and this woman, you can tell it is a man. No matter how much she looks like a woman, she's actually starting to look like a man again, and she's starting to sound like a man. So, after a while, that hormone, the hormones you give yourself every day, and that plastic surgery is not going to do crap for you. It's not going to mask who God intended you to be. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, it was kind of funny because I know the next story, not that story. And I don't want to really mention things. I kind of admire this particular actor, actress, wannabe, whatever. So I'm not going to say what show I was talking about. Or, hey, Matt, if you want to mention it, ask me, I'll tell you. Anyway, there was a story I tried to send to Matt. He didn't respond back, and I was not trying to be sarcastic because one thing he's concerned about is, weight problems. Everybody has it, I think, when you get older. So here's a story that was in the Norristown patch around where I live, and it says obesity in Pennsylvania. New maps show how common it is. So it goes through all the states, and it seems like we are pretty high as a state as being obese. Like majority of the people in Pennsylvania are fairly relatively fairly overweight, like a lot of people are. Not just a few, but a lot. Because it goes state by state, which states are the most obese, on average, and Pennsylvania was definitely up there. So, and you know what? I don't know how I could do this even on a podcast like this, my experiment with this, but it's almost getting close to an hour. I got 10 minutes left. So anyway, I don't want to screw up this story. I just want to kind of mention it. It was a really good, I want to see this commercial. Gillette made a comeback on what a sacrifice is, because you have this whole thing with that one football player who is basically destroyed Nike now by doing this anti-Trump commercial. I can't remember who it is. So anyway, so Gillette had their comeback, and it says Gillette destroys Nike's post. Powerful video on NFL player who made true sacrifices. Now, I don't know who the gentleman is, but as a child, he was born with only one hand. So, and he's an NFL player. So I'm not familiar with football or anything like that, but it was an article. I guess there is. It shows you the commercial. I didn't realize it was there. But I saw that, and it was just really wrenched at my heart. So it was like, yeah, I had to post this on my Facebook page. His last name it looks like Griffin. See, again, I'm not familiar with football players. He only has one hand. Like, you're never going to be a football player if that's what you really want to be. And the man proved everyone wrong. So it's kind of like a heart-wrenching article to read, in my opinion. It went up September 13th, and that was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I can't pronounce I apologize. I can't pronounce his first name. But the fact that this man had, succumbed a really serious issue. I mean, to be a football player, I would think you need all your limbs and definitely both your hands and your feet. But this man had proved everybody wrong. So very powerful story, and I would definitely, it's his looks like Politico feed is the name of the link, and I saw that and it just stuck out. I have an article. Again, I'm just going to, because I'm running out of time, and the feed is from, it looks like Deplorable Kel. It says Muslims running in incoming elections call for gun control. Now, I do have an article. This guy. Oh, here we go. His name's Abdul. He is for Michigan. He's a Muslim, and he's for gun control, meaning taking guns away from people. So, and this is on like a thing for people conservative, because it's a page on deplorables, as we were called from Hillary. So yeah, this is one thing I did see tonight when I was looking through. Okay, what should I talk about tonight? A lot of articles on Muslims now running for offices or positions in our government, and this is being allowed. So it's really sad, actually. So, okay, thank God I'm finally running out of stories. I'm getting tired of hearing myself talk, honestly. So anyway, there was one from Channel 16 News. It says WNEP, and was one sent from a friend, and it was former student teacher accused of having sex with student. Excuse me. Her name's Alexandria. She's 25 years old, and she, confessed for having sexual intercourse. It's a deviant sexual intercourse. Again, another school teacher having sex with a 14-year-old student. And they said at the time the kid was 14 years old. Well, it happened last year. So, yeah, that's a big difference. And I have to laugh at it because, not the story itself, but I always make this joke that we have so many people flooding in from other states. And generally, it's the states that were Democratic states. And the cost of living for these people, like California, New York, and New Jersey, and some other states a friend has mentioned, we look at the plates that are flowing into Pennsylvania. And why are they doing that? Because the cost of living is much better, and it's just outrageous from where they, had lived prior to coming to Pennsylvania. So we have an overabundance of, again, New York, New Jersey plates, and now California. And that's not around the corner. That's on the West Coast, and they're flocking to our state because the cost of living is so low. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to end up voting the same stupid way they did in their state. Then we're going to get more of these moronic Democrats who want to raise taxes and give more to illegal immigrants, because we are considered. If you listen to Ken Matthews, he actually has stated on his Facebook page, he calls Philadelphia a sanctuary city, because it is. And so is Norristown, for that matter, where I live. So anyway, why am I mentioning all this? Well, it says in here, Jersey Shore, PA. We are not near the shore, and I thought it meant PA as what is that, the abbreviation for a PA announcer or something? No, they said Jersey Shore, PA. Jersey Shore, Pennsylvania is where this woman got caught and confessed to it. A school teacher having sex with a 14-year-old. So, what does this have to do with anything, Walter? Well, I call our state New Jersey, PA, New York, PA, because we got so many people from out of state now living in this state because they're trying to flock or leave where they came from, where the cost of living and the situation where they live was either very dangerous and the cost of living was very high. And they're bringing, we're getting these, I like to call them delinquents, moving in droves into our state. And I make the joke to my one friend, Todd, and I call it Jersey, PA, and New York, PA. So somebody actually put in this article from Channel 16 News, wherever that is, and they called it Jersey Shore, PA. Like, we have no water, ocean water anywhere around us. We're Pennsylvania. So I just thought the whole thing was funny. The thing that's not funny is this story about another story. There was, like I said, the one friend Todd had posted on my Facebook page actually like several stories in one night, and they were all like brand new stories. In fact, here was another one. And this, okay, well, maybe this is the same one, but there was several stories, don't get me wrong. Because this one also says Jersey Shore, PA. So, no big deal. I don't know. Well, it is a big deal because the only way, again, you deal with situations like this is you make sure to get rid of people that are that, I'm trying to think of the correct word, or that irresponsible. So, and you know what? That would be my last story, but I really wanted to find out, if I could figure out where I put it, about the statistics of which states allow illegals to drive. I might even just try to. If you don't mind, folks, maybe you can see this. This probably won't be on my show, but I'm going to put in illegals. Illegals allowed to drive in which states? If not, I'll just save it for another show. Okay. What states? Oh, wait. Illegals. Which states are illegals? Well, I got one on incest. Has nothing. Illegals allowed in which states? Oh, no wonder why. To drive. I know California was one of them. Okay, here's some of them. I know because I remember from the last time it was like Washington, D.C., Florida. Definitely California was one of them. 12 states in D.C. that allow driver's license for people in the country illegally. Okay, here we go. Let me see how many states there are. Well, there's at least 13 states. This wasn't the article I first found. It says 12 states and D.C. allow driver's license to people from the country in our country that they're allowed to drive illegally. There's 13 states. So that's pretty bad, in my opinion. It starts with California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, for those who don't know, and Rio Lindo, or whatever how Brush says that. That would be Washington, D.C., Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, Vermont, and then Washington State. So now around here, what's bad? Now we're getting plates from like I said, California around here now. Delaware's a very serious issue. Washington, kind of, yeah. I'm trying to think where else probably would be. If you remember what I said, I'm not going to read them out again. But yeah, that's pretty serious. You got people who can, cross the border illegally and obtain a driver's license. That's really nice, isn't it? So, I wonder if they park New Jersey. Some city government, including San Francisco, California, New Haven, Connecticut, and Asbury Park, New Jersey, issue photo identification cards to residents who are in the county illegally. In the country, I apologize, in the country illegally. It says these ID cards cannot be used as driver's license. But you know what? So it says, at least here, that yes, New Jersey is, and I'm sure New York is in there too, but New Jersey allows illegal immigrants to obtain a photo ID at least. And who's to say they're not driving as well? Because there's nobody that's going to stop them. No offense, but there's nobody to stop them. Anyhow, this is Walter, and from iWalter, and I'm going to sign off for now. I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to get up online, but whatever I can put up on YouTube, Facebook, whatever, I will certainly try, folks. So thanks for listening to me, and hopefully I made it a kind of interesting show. I try to, and I'm at my hour mark. So have a good night. Have a good weekend.